What is going on, guys? We are working on the giveaway rig. We need to start doing some work and figuring a few things out before it goes to its lucky new owner. Now, one thing that I've noticed with this thing ever since I came to possess it is that there is a bit of a wobble in the front. Now, driving normally, it's fine. But I've noticed if you're loaded up, like on one side, go around the corner and you hit a bump, sometimes it gets like a big wobble in the front. So we checked just hanging off the bull bar and swinging off the bull bar. We're pretty sure that the wheel bearings need doing. So obviously these should be wheel bearings that I can just tighten. So I'm gonna tighten them up and see if that helps. Obviously if it doesn't help, we're gonna have to just replace the wheel bearings. That's how that's gonna be. Not a big deal, but we'll try tightening them up first. Probably end up putting new panhard bushers in it, just cause they can be a problem and might be good to replace them. Cause you know, classic wobbles, usually always panhard. In this case, I think the wheel bearings have a lot more to do with it, but we'll probably replace the panhard bushes anyway. But we'll try just doing the wheel bearings first. I think I'll end up replacing the bushes on the radius arms as well. Just looking at them, I don't think they look too crash hot, but might just pull the radius or drop the radius arms and just check them. If they look all right, we won't replace them, but I just thought from looking at them the other day, they sort of look like they might have been a little bit average. Anyway, I'm starting this very late and I'm on my own here, so I decided, screw it, I'll wait until tomorrow when I've got someone here to help me line it up on the hoist and everything else. I've decided, instead of going ahead with this, we'll do that tomorrow. I'm gonna pull all these seat covers off and see how bad these seats really are. Rightio guys, seat covers are all off. This is what we're working with. Obviously, as we knew, driver's seat's cooked. So definitely need a driver's seat. That's a shame. The rear seats were looking pretty good. So all like this seat on top's all good, but this seat has this rip in the back of it. That's why I wanted to replace this seat, because that's not good. So passenger seat, got this rip here. The bolster's pretty much gone. So basically that seat needs replacing as well. And then yeah, this back seat as well on this side has a big rip there. So basically, yeah, as I thought, need all new seats. Basically driver's, passenger seat, plus the middle row, whole middle row. A few other things we need to sort out as well. This vent, need a new vent and need a new AC control system because it is not working properly either. So anyway, just a few things. We already knew about a lot of this stuff. So I've been trying to get onto some 80 wreckers. I would like to get a better conditioned steering wheel as well and replace that steering wheel. So yeah, there's a few things that we need to get, obviously. It's time to actually get into gear with this thing and start sourcing these parts to get it done so that it's ready. So yeah, I'm trying to get onto a few 80 wreckers and try and get a few things, but all right, we'll do these wheel bearings in the morning. With it up on the hoist for the first time, you can have a pretty good look at what's going on under here. It's our 3-inch exhaust all the way back. Yeehaw. I need to do a big underbody wash, clean the thing up a bit. But yeah, for now, we'll get these wheel bearings done and then see how it goes, see how it drives on the road. With some tight wheel bearings, because they're pretty loose.
Yeah, there's the snug ring.
Yeah. Loosey goosey. Very loose. Anyway, hopefully they adjust up. So just being able to get a good look under the car for the first time now, having a good look around, pretty much gonna probably do all the bushes under the car. So essentially, when it goes to the new owner, it's gonna be all new bushed under the car. So your front radius arms, we redo those bushes, they're pretty cooked. Gonna redo the panhard bushes, obviously, like we talked about. Gonna redo the rear panhard bushes as well and the rear traction rod bushes, uppers and lowers, because they're all pretty cooked. In other news though, the guy that we did the Turbo 1FZ 80 for a few years ago, he came in, he dropped in the other day. He wants to upgrade the turbo and retune and try and go for a bit more horsepower in that thing, the turbo, and it's finally starting to pretty much give up on him. So, but he ended up getting onto a guy, I think he's up Harvey Bay way, that is like right into his 80 series. He's got heaps and heaps of them. He wrecks heaps of 80 series out. So he put me onto him. So I'm gonna hit him up for hopefully some seats and those vents that I need and that switcher that I need and stuff like that, and hopefully start getting some parts together that we need to replace this thing. So the rear window motor, I've learned are the pretty much good old Toyota, as we all know, through all the same eras, they use the same door handles on all the same cars in that era. That's what Toyota was like, and I've learnt that the window motors are all the same as just about every other Toyota of the era. So like Camry, you can get a window motor out of a Camry and it will work, stuff like that. So that should be really easy to find the window motor that I need for that seized one. So yeah, start getting all these parts together and get this thing sorted out. So they're tightened up, they feel good at the moment. Obviously, I'll order all these bushes that we're going to need to do on the bottom underneath the car. I'll drive it around a bit. I'll use it for errands and stuff like that, but unfortunately I can't use it as a daily driver anymore, or at the moment, because I now do the daycare drop off every day, so I need a child seat, so I can't daily it, but I'll just use it for errands and try and drive it around as much as possible over the next couple of weeks. Rightio guys, didn't get far and the Cruiser tried to throw me off the road again. Probably being a little bit dramatic, but yeah, it's still got a terrible wobble in the front. So back in the naughty corner, it's just gonna sit there until we get all of the bushes to do everything underneath the car. Rightio boys and girls, so while I wait for all new everything to get here from underneath, which has been ordered, so it should be here tomorrow, all of the new bushes and swivel hubs and the whole 9 yards for the bloody thing. So anyway, while I wait for that, I figure can't really go anywhere in it. Next best thing that we can do, still make content, put it on the dyno, give it a tune. So, has not been tuned with this new fuel pump yet, so we'll run it up, but obviously being full-time four-wheel drive, first thing we've got to do is pull the front drive shaft out of it, so that we can dyno it. So we'll get that done. Righto guys, had a bit on yesterday, but the front shaft's out. We're ready to start running this thing up. Rex is sorting out, setting up our new 3D printer. How good's that going to be? But check out what arrived today. This thing's about to have a big old birthday. We've got ourselves extended front sway bar links, extended rear sway bar links. We've got all the berries, all new bushes, front to back, the whole lot. We've got wheel bearings and swivel hub kit, as well as a new heater core as well to fix the heater core under the dash, so I can actually fix the heater system and get all that hooked back up. So she's gonna be a big birthday this weekend. Get this thing ready to go to its lucky new owner. So we'll just let the big girl get some temp up in her. This is where it left last time after we turboed it. So we ended up at about 103 horsepower at the wheels, which was quite a significant improvement over like the 60 something horsepower it was when it was aspirated when it got here. But the issue that we had on this day, there was two major things that we were sort of concerned about when we tuned it on this particular day. Firstly being that it was still the 80 series 1HZ pump, so there was no boost compensation, which means we had to be very careful about walking that line between being on and off boost, because if we made it too rich, tried to get too much power into it, although that might be all good when it's on boost, when it's off boost, there's no boost compensation, it would have just been super, super rich, making things really, really hot. Now, the second thing was that we were just running this max speeding turbo, just hot intake with no intercooler, and we knew that we were starting to push this turbo fairly far. Now, the biggest thing with these things, obviously, with all diesels and tuning them, is keeping your combustion temperatures down, particularly with 1HZs. Pretty easy to crack a piston in these things. You've got to be pretty careful. So between making sure we weren't putting too much fuel in this thing down low off boost, and then making sure we weren't pushing this turbo too hard on boost, we sort of had to sort of balance that line and keep the EGTs happy, and that's where we ended up, was about 103 horsepower. But now, two great things we've got now. One, we've got a boost compensated 105 series fuel pump, which means that we can afford to get some more fuel in this thing on boost, and the off boost, it will still be compensated, and it won't be super, super rich off boost. At least it shouldn't. That's how the boost compensation, or the boost compensated diaphragm should work, which should mean that we can make more power on the pump. Make more power on the pump without it being unsafe off boost. And secondly, is we now have a front mount intercooler on this thing. So Jake ended up intercooling this after we turboed it. So this just means that we can afford, or we're happy to push a little bit more boost, because the intake air temps are going to be quite a bit lower than they were before. So between those combination of things, I'm hoping that we can get this closer to about 120 horsepower. I'd be pretty happy with that. Maybe even a bit more, we'll see. Again, guys, we're giving this thing away. We're not looking to try and make it dangerous. We want this to be something that people can just jump in and go and enjoy and know that it's going to be safe. So, woo-hoo. Oh, I still love me the sound of this big old diesel. Goodness gracious. That's already way better. How good's that? Honestly, that pump's pretty bang on the way it is. Not bad, not bad. guys and girls, that's a really good result straight off the bat. You know, already 130 horsepower, so that's pretty good. AFRs are pretty good. I wouldn't want it any richer than that. We might play around with the boost T and just see if we can try and get a bit more boost into it. So we'll have a bit of a play around with that. But yeah, apart from that, honestly, it's pretty good. It's pretty well set. I like it. Anyway, we'll crank on the boost T a bit more, but if I can't get any more boost into it with the fuel that's already there, I'm not going to go chasing it. It's one of those things, like obviously if you start putting more fuel in, you might then drive the turbine a bit harder and make a bit more boost, but for the sake of 10 horsepower, like I said, this thing's pretty good. It's pretty safe. So we'll just see if we can get some more boost in it with the fuel that's in it. And if we can, then we'll look at putting some more fuel in. But if we can't, that's where it's gonna stay. Let's go. Rightio guys, so I had a bit of a play around with the boost T, had a bit of a play around with dyno settings as well, changing the ramp rate a bit. I had it on shootout for 6 forced, which is 6 boosted. But for diesels, the ramp rate for that setting's just a bit too short. You sort of really need a longer ramp rate. They don't make enough power. You really need that longer ramp rate to keep that heat in the turbo and keep it going. So I screwed around with that a little bit. We did manage to get a little bit more boost in. She's running about 12 pound now. We did have the highest reading of a 132 at the wheels, but our AFRs are still pretty bang on. I'm not wanting to put any more fuel in this thing. The AFRs are nice and safe. I like them where they are. You know, we could probably make that 140 if we pumped a bit more fuel into it, but for the sake of it, I'm not willing to make these AFRs any more unsafe than they are. I'm quite happy with what the AFRs are doing. So that's where we are pulling up. So honestly, didn't even really need a tune. Just a bit of a play around the booster. Get a little bit more boost into it now that it's intercooled, but could probably get a bit more boost into it if we actually adjusted the preload on the rod for the wastegate actuator. But again, for the sake of chasing that extra 2, 4, 5 horsepower maybe, it's just not worth doing.
That's the big giveaway rig.
So yeah, highest reading was a 132, but fairly consistent 125 horsepower, which for a touring rig, this thing goes pretty well. I'm pretty excited once we get all this new front end and stuff in it, or not front end, rear end, all the new bushes and that. I'm pretty keen to actually get the car trailer on this thing and start doing a bit of towing with it and see how it goes. Because just driving around on the street before, it feels pretty good. It actually, you know, it feels quite good. It makes me want to get a 105 1HZ and just do like a crazy 200 horsepower pump thing on it. But anyway, maybe for future. But for now, this thing's cool. We now know how much power it's making. We now know what it's doing. And it's fine just the way it is. So anyway, right off the bat with the intercooler, that cooler air and the 105 pump, before we even did any tuning, the way it just was set up from the boys at Nambour Automotive Services, we already made an extra 25 horsepower, over 25 horsepower. And you might look at that and go, that doesn't seem like much. 25 horsepower isn't much, but 25 horsepower of 103 is 25%. That's freaking large. That is a really large increase. That's not negligible at all at this sort of power level. So it's freaking cool. I like it. It's awesome. Get this thing off the dyno now.
So for the hotbed, use 4 M10s, M4x10 screws, connect the hotbed to support plate on the axle train. Make sure the hotbed is flat and all 6 screws are securely fastened. But there's 8.
Nice.
So I don't know what that's about.
So anyway, our 3D printer doesn't work. I'm only joking. There is an upgraded part over there, some sort of quiet board or something. I'm not sure which end it goes on. I should probably get that out too.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that'd be good to know.
Anyway, boys and girls, I figured as long as I couldn't really drive this anywhere before we get the suspension done, this was the next best thing, to get it on the dyno and see what it was doing with all this new gear on it. And not disappointed at all. Really good result. Happy with that. So that's the end of this episode. We're going to start getting all this new bushes and stuff in over the weekend. So that'll be the next episode of the giveaway rig. And I'm still trying to hunt down all the new interior bits I want to put in it and freshen all that up ready for whoever ends up actually winning it. So if you are new here as well, this is our giveaway car. We are giving it away to one lucky person who happens to spend at least $10 at our merch store. So head to our merch shop, check it out. You could win yourself this for as little as a $10 sticker, which would be a nice little surprise. Be sure to check the terms and conditions. We do have some new merch coming as well before the end of this giveaway. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, we have some new merch out as well. Make sure you go over to the merch store and check it out. The way we've got the entry set up is your entries actually double every $100 you spend. If you have already bought merch previously and you would like to get some of the new merch, the way we're going to work out those entries is going to be based on your merchandise purchases over the entire period of the giveaway. So
if you want to buy some new merch now, that order total will get added to your previous order total and you'll get your cumulative entries every $100, just like you would if you bought it all in one hit. So we're going to make sure that that happens for you guys. But yeah, head over there and check it out. Buy yourself some merch. You could win yourself this Touring 80 series rig, which happens to be around about 130 wheel horsepower, which is cool as heck. Thanks for watching as always, guys. Make sure you tune in for the next episode. Subscribe, hit the little bell so you don't miss anything. Join our Patreon. You can see everything as it happens. Behind the scenes, Patreon exclusive content, all of the rest of it. We also do monthly giveaways for our Patreons as well. So go check that out. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out. See you. Bye.